The Pope's exhortation that Christ lives tackles major issues facing the church. He writes about the role of women, vocations, and clerical sex abuse. However, not included in the Holy Father's 33,000-word letter is the phrase zero tolerance of abuse, which is part of the foundation of the U.S. Bishop's landmark Dallas Charter for the protection of minors. Crux editor-in-chief John Allen joins us now to discuss what Francis has and what he has not written. John, let's get right to it. The apostolic exhortation is being praised for calling on the church to invest in young people, but there is that question about why the Pope avoided using the term zero tolerance. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the Pope devoted almost 1,000 words in this exhortation to the subject of the clerical sex abuse scandals, so it's striking. And of course, let's remember that the question of whether or not to use the phrase zero tolerance was also actively debated at the Synod of Bishops last October, upon which this exhortation is based. So I think what's going on here, Liz, is that it is clear that increasingly, when the Vatican and when this Pope, in any event, talks about the clerical sex abuse scandals, I think you're unlikely to hear the phrase zero tolerance. In some quarters, the phrase zero tolerance has come not just to mean the one strike and you're out policy, but the whole American response to the abuse scandals. So things like public disclosure of names, extensive litigation, press conferences. These are things that bishops in many parts of the world don't really think would fly in their own backyard. So I think what we're seeing here is Francis increasingly not really abandoning the substance of the zero tolerance policy, but certainly that vocabulary.
John, having discussed what the Holy Father did not mention, let's talk more about what we do know. During the Vatican's historic summit on the protection of minors, Pope Francis released these 21 points of reflection regarding the sexual abuse crisis. He asked church leaders to, and I'm quoting here, observe the traditional principle of proportionality of punishment with respect to the crime committed. So basically, he's addressing how clergy guilty of sexual abuse should be judged. Zero tolerance in this case would force them to leave public ministry, which you touched upon. Why is Francis supporting this approach? Clarify that even more for us.
Here we're talking about what is the ultimate fate of a priest under church law. That is, can he remain in the priesthood or not? I think what the Vatican is moving towards is a kind of diverse global standard there. I think in the United States, parts of Western Europe, there, I think, they've signed off on one strike and you're out as the appropriate solution to that set of circumstances. I think there are some other circumstances when they look around the world, they are not quite so sure it would work. I mean, for instance, we could talk about a badly underdeveloped society where when a priest is accused of the serial sexual abuse of children, there are no civil prosecutors, there are no police, there are no secular facilities where he could be maintained. And therefore, we would be sure that no further children are being put into harm's way. I think there, some church leaders think just washing their hands and cutting that guy loose is actually an irresponsible thing to do. That by keeping him in the priesthood, but under sanction and under supervision, that gives the church the best shot at making sure that no further children are violated.
All right, John, as always, we covered a lot. And as always, I thank you very much, my friend. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.